today we just wanted to talk a little bit about your journey as a scholar, things that you're doing now. So first of all, let the people know who you are. You can give us a backstory of just life.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Leiny Maria Cristina Vega. I love using
The
my full name.
government. Yes.
My government name. I'm currently 23, about to be 24. I recently graduated from DePaul University in 2023 with my degree in stage management for theater.
Okay.
Born and raised Chicagoan, so never left. Studied right here in Chicago, in the Northwest side, and yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the basics.
That's good. So tell me a little bit about so you grew up here in Chicago. Where did you go to high school at? And then what led you to pursue scholars? Because that's the big thing.
Yeah. So I went to high school at Intrinsic Charter School. It was their first campus they built in when I was in high school. I discovered my passion for theater. They had like a introductory, very small, not even not even a drama program. A drama teacher had just started at the school, like my second year, and
Okay.
she started just getting together these small shows that I was a part of for a while, and discovered that I loved stage managing for them, and so that inspired me to want to study stage management for theater in college because I didn't really have much experience um, growing up in it to have the hands-on education. And
Yeah.
so, in my search for schools and then scholarships to be able to go to school,
Mhm.
pursue scholars came up because I did have connections. My past youth leader, she was also a Pursuit Scholar. And so when it came time for me to apply for scholarships, they were one of the first ones I reached out to. And praise God, went through the whole process and they
Right.
accepted
Yeah.
me. But yeah, and thankfully I still have a connection with them today as an alum.
Tell me about your first impressions of campus. Like when you get on campus, like how are you emotionally, mentally, like where are you at? Because that's a huge jump from high school to college years.
It was a big jump, and I feel like my introduction to being on campus was I guess my response was unexpected,
Mhm.
um, because DePaul is located in Lincoln Park, and I feel like the neighborhood is a lot different than the one that I grew up in, and so it was a culture shock just
Mm.
changing neighborhoods in terms of my education. I lived at home still, so
Mhm.
I was definitely a commuter, but it was a culture shock, but
Uh-huh.
in a good way. There's adjustment period for sure, but I don't know, I loved, um, just when being in a different neighborhood, day by day. I as a theater student, um, it felt like a work like, not even 9 to 5, it felt like a 12-hour work shift from having classes and then afterwards having rehearsals. I
Yeah.
really got to become familiar with, um just that small area of Chicago.
And
Yeah.
so what was the goal when you finished with that major? Like what were you thinking that Laney would be doing for the next 10, 15 years?
Man, those changed drastically
Okay.
in the middle of school. So I never changed majors. I definitely stuck with it, because I wanted to. It was definitely always my path in school, my choice. My parents were
Mhm.
supportive when I got into the program. Um, so my goal was to one day always be a stage manager, always do theater. I mean, I wanted to, um, I don't know, just be a light in the industry, and so I loved just, I don't know, I really wanted to always do theater, specifically as a stage manager. Halfway into it, um, of course, was the pandemic, and so,
Yeah. Yeah, so like what was
that really shifted things for me.
Yeah.
Um, my advisor, when we were in shutdown, and of course, like shows were not a thing, said like choose an independent study for a bit. Something that if you can't do stage management, what's the
Mhm.
alternative? Which is a great thing to give us time and space for. And it just turns out my calling is live things. So I went from taking a pause of studying stage management, and during that time, really looked into event management,
Oh, okay,
which
okay.
interesting and interestingly enough, really transfers over the skills that I had learned so far in
Sure.
stage managing, from the planning to, I mean, talking to designers, turning into talking to vendors, creating a whole event design plan.
Mhm.
Um, Everything just transferred over seamlessly, and of course, events means a lot of different things. There's the corporate ones,
Sure.
there's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
very intimate ones like weddings, baby showers, to like live orchestral events. Just, I mean,
Mm,
the possibilities are endless when it came to that.
yeah.
And I fell in love with that as well. So when we got back in person for school, I definitely continued doing shows and
Mhm.
loved. At the same time, I also got the opportunity to start being an event planner professionally.
Is
So
it independent or were you doing it under a company?
independent. One friend of mine who was getting married said, "Hey, this seems like it's what you're studying, but not. Do you want to do my wedding?"
Oh, that's a
I
big way to jump in.
I was like, "Oh, yes, we'll see how that goes." Um, and praise God, it went well, and I just fell in
Mm,
love with doing event planning, and from the personal to probably the more bigger ones, like
yeah.
doing the festival,
Mhm.
which we might, I don't know if we'll touch on later, but planning the Pursue Unity Festival is one of the things um, that I've also been blessed to be a part of. So as I'm continu since I've graduated and continuing my stage management career, I'm also continuing a event management career, which
And
is
they kinda,
amazing.
like, go hand in hand in a lot of ways, so,
Yes.
it's interesting as I hear you talk because the other day I was listening to a friend and she runs a record label in Atlanta, and she was sharing how, somebody said, what's one thing that you would say to creatives if you could tell them in their early years of being a creative?" And she would say, "Don't listen to people who say don't put all your eggs in one basket." And then she began to
Oh.
expound and she began to share how when we usually have a plan B, a lot of times we don't go as hard as we would with plan A. And her
Mhm.
whole as she's fleshing it out, she's saying, it's okay to fail. Like you should fail a few times so that you can learn
Mhm.
the rhythms.
Mhm.
You should make mistakes.
Right.
And guess what? If you don't have a high overhead, you don't have, kids or a family to worry about or big health things, take the risk. Like what's the issue? And I think that as creatives, which is really cool to have this conversation, is something that I had to learn a lot in my 20s and even relearn in
Mm.
my 30s of the idea of just like really, if you believe, going for it. And in some ways, other people just won't get it.
That hits very close to home for me,
Mhm.
because in high school, that was the biggest thing that I was told. When I finally made the decision to pursue theater,
Yeah.
um, I don't know if it'll ruffle some feathers, but when you hear the word theater as a career choice, sometimes
To get a
people
real
hear
job.
that as stru that and like, "Ooh, are you gonna live the struggling artist life?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it took a lot of convincing to, well, I don't need to convince everybody, but like it took a lot of convincing for some people of like it's not going to be that way. I mean, I had a passion for it and I had to pursue it regardless of other important people in my life telling me that that career path doesn't make sense for
Right.
me. Not because they didn't see me as an artist, but just like, do you want to struggle for your passion or do
Mhm.
you want something that's safe? Um,
Yeah.
in terms of like choosing your education and career. And I really had to fight for that and like
Yeah.
internally, like not let the doubts, soak in and deflate my passion, but also um, showing other people that I can do it, not just in my education, but I can make it into a career that I can thrive in.
Yeah.
That might be a struggle and maybe in the beginning of just launching, but I can eventually thrive in. And so that really hit close to home. And I think as had the confidence to pursue theater by starting
Mm.
my education in it and continuing it now, I
Yeah.
think that is what I'm facing now in terms of my event planning career, but internally, where I'm trying to remind myself, like you were saying, that it might be a struggle. I might fail a couple of times, but like the passion is there and it's worth pursuing it.
Last question for you. As we, hit third base around home, how have you seen the work of pursuing your life kind of change the trajectory of your future?
Ooh. Wow, I almost got emotional with that question. Wow. Um, they've played a significant part in getting me to reach my goals throughout. I mean, the first phase they were a part of being getting into college and being in college, and even now supporting me still. Of course, I mean, the first one is financially, of course, by accepting me into their program. But once I was a pursued scholar,
Yeah.
um, school wasn't very easy for me. Sure, like the education and academic part, I was pretty okay at, but the emotional part and mental part and the strain that school was, I definitely needed a lot of encouragement to persist in it, and
Mm.
Pursue Scholars was right there for me, to always, hold my hand, um, be there for prayer for when I needed anything, always reaching out to encourage me. And then also, they provided me a mentor that was truly like a main person,
Mm.
whose responsibility was to make sure I was okay and I would always be able to talk to about anything. And
Mm.
um, I was really well taken care of, and it just encouraged me to keep going to the very end. Um, yeah, and I mean, it's such a simple thing that they do, but I know it takes a lot of effort when you think about it logistically. Um,
Mhm.
Care packages,
Yeah.
it's such a simple thing, but they always came at the moment I needed it the most, when I was like really struggling to feel like support. I don't know, I was always supported, but school just really gets you into a
It
place
does,
where
yeah.
you need to be reminded and to have that physical reminder with the notes from the Pursue staff and just the treats in it, just knowing that I was so loved in that way too. Um, it really took me a long way, uh, and got me to my graduation, and then when I finished school and started going into my career paths, Pursue was very ready to pull me into the network of people that they had.
Mhm.
So I didn't feel like I was going into an ocean and just not like without direction. They
Right.
were letting me know of people who either are doing what I'm doing or people who need what I'm doing, and can use my skills, and I was really appreciative of that as well. Aside
Mm.
from the fact of even also giving me this opportunity to be part of their work as well, as an event planner, every now and then. So
Mm.
they have been amazing.
That's great. That's good to hear. I love hearing those stories, and that's kind of been the gift of me just helping in this season with some of the story of Pursue and just seeing the alumni, but then the current students just talk about their journey and how God used this work of Pursue to encourage them and more willing for you all to pay it forward and be great in
Yeah.
your right. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to be a part of that and to experience it. So thank you so much for allowing me some time to hear your story and about this
Thank you
dope
for
message
asking
you're about to
me.
throw. Definitely, definitely. It's gonna be fun to celebrate at the Pursue Unity Festival that
Yes.
you are curating. So thank you so much. And thank you all for listening and hearing Laney's story. Continue to support